Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited to have you here for today's Meet Steep live demo and Q&A session. Whether you're joining us to learn more about Steep, see the platform in action, or explore how AI can make data more accessible across your organization, we're glad you're here. With that, I'll hand over to Sebastian to get us started. Enjoy the session.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, and welcome again, everyone. My name is Sebastian, and I work at the commercial team here at Steep. I'll spend my days talking to a lot of clients and potential partners. Been at Steep for a year, come from a background of commercial in different scale-ups and startups. So I'm more on the consumer side of BI, let's say that. Haven't been a data engineer, analytics engineer at all, just a commercial leader. I've been struggling with a lot of different BI tools. I think I've tried them all, like Looker and Tableau and Power BI, Click, everything, and I always felt kind of the pain from my side. So really glad to have joined Steep since a year ago. And with me, I also have Oscar. Do you want to briefly introduce yourself as well?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Oscar. I am a senior software engineer here at Steep, almost 2 years in the company. I have a strong background in mainly data processing, high throughput systems, and now I am working on the uh, on the data part from a BI perspective, which is very cool. I'll be here to answer a little the technical part, the technical questions. Excited to see what you have for us.
Perfect. Yeah, and we'll spend around 25 minutes on a very simple but hopefully interesting agenda here. We're going to go through what Steep is, so a few slides before we dive into the demo and to show you guys how Steep looks like and feels like, and then over a bit to Oscar to see what's under the hood, what makes everything possible in the kind of consumption layer and the application. And then at the end, we're going to go through a little bit how our clients and other teams use Steep and what they get out of it, why they chose to work with us, leaving 15 minutes, around 15 minutes for the Q&A in the end. So please feel free to use the chat function, Q&A function here in the webinar. All right, so on to it. I'm going to talk a little bit before we dive into the demo, what Steep is. So legacy BI is, as we see it, a small part of people building dashboards for others, and Steep kind of flips that way, 180 around to enable everyone or empower all users, as it says here, with governed metrics. So data team and analytics engineers can focus on building up the system and the semantic model and giving autonomy for everyone to build their own dashboards, explore metrics, and compares and do AI analysis autonomously instead of having this back and forth of asking ad hoc questions and sometimes creating these bottlenecks of work and backlog for data and analytics teams. So we're a lot focused on the business users with Steep. Hopefully, you're going to see that when we demo the application. We try to make it really intuitive and easy to use. We have a mobile application native to iOS and Android. So we really focus a lot of power on making it simple for data and analytics teams to build up the semantic layer and everything that end users or business users need to be autonomous. And then for the business users to actually want to use the BI tool or AI analytics tool. Whilst other BI tools might be more for analysts. So analyst focused, we're more business focused. And we're going to go back to what you actually get out of it and what our clients see as a business outcome of using Steep and working in this new type of way, where everyone in the company gets empowered with governed metrics. So a little bit of a big slide here, but just to visually place Steep in your tech stack or data stack, we connect to any SQL server really, so BigQuery, Databricks, Snowflake, and more. And to Steep, so you build up the semantic layer in Steep. So the middle part here is more for the data and analytics team to govern. They build up the semantic layer, they define all the metrics, they define dimensions, and even things like entities. We have a concept called entities in Steep as well. That's for row level views to avoid any can you send me this list of data? That should be available for everyone in the company and really drill down to the row level views of stuff. Great for operational workflows. And then we have built out things like targets, so you can add targets on top of your metrics and dimensions. So that's available in the platform as well. You can use it for budgets and forecasts, etc. Oscar is going to show a bit about code workflows and how you build up context. You can write out a lot of context on your modules or tables, on your metrics, dimensions, etc. in Steep, so that both humans and agents get better understanding of your model, your semantic model. We have an admin UI as well, so you can choose to work in code. We have a Git integration. Oscar is going to tell you all about that. But we also have an admin UI, so you can define your entire semantic model in a super fast and simple way directly in the application as well. Comes with full kind of security and permissions, row level security, have a powerful caching layer as well. And the right-hand side, if we see the product, this is what we're going to demo today. Steep AI, exploring metrics, building reports, and subscribing for reports to Slack, etc. And then agents, we have a built-in Steep AI agent, and we're working on something that we think is really cool, a builder agent as well, to help the data team and the analytics team to build out and refine and iterate on the semantic model. And then the connectors, MCP connectors, Slack integration, and our APIs, obviously. So this is kind of where Steep sits in the stack. A few mentions here, version control definitions. This is for Oscar to dive into very soon. Also have the admin UI as mentioned, and it's compatible with other platforms as well. So either you can connect it to your data warehouse, or if you have your semantic layer in dbt, for example, OSI compatible, and then enterprise grade permissions like user roles and metric level permissions. You can set up people into teams, groups, skim provisioning if you have SSO, so you can provision all the users and teams, and set up row level security in the semantic model as well, so that you can rest assured that everyone sees just what they should. Now to the demo. So I'm going to show you a little bit around what Steep looks like from an end user perspective, and then Oscar is going to show you what's behind the scenes, so to speak. Okay, so this is the Steep platform. I'm going to go through a few different concepts. The home screen that we're on right now, and then we're going to go into metrics, look at the metrics catalog and how you can explore metrics. And then we're going to go into reports, and then lastly, Steep AI, before we hand over to Oscar. And he's going to go into the model and how you can build up your model. All right, so you land at the home screen, you have a few KPIs and widgets. So like high-level glance of your key metrics in the company. And if I scroll down, there's a few pinned reports, like main reports that you can pin to the home screen. And if you're part of a team, you see the team specific metrics as well, and team specific reports here as well. So this is for you to get kind of a good overview as soon as you open your mobile application or desktop app, like I'm showing you now. And a key part of Steep is metrics. So it's a metrics first BI tool. That's something that we've been driving for a long time. Here you have kind of one list of all your metrics in your company. And you can, as an end user, kind of clearly see what is the metric. It's described, well described. It's categorized. You have clear ownership. And you can just go in here and click any metric to start exploring this metric and changing kind of the time period and time grain of this metric like this. On the right-hand side, I can see kind of all the different breakdowns I could do with this metric, and I can go in and look at different compares if I want to compare it to last year, etc. So everything that you kind of expect for metrics exploration, and I can even overlay other metrics to this one. Like I want to compare commercial revenue to active users in this case. I can do that. So a very composable way of working with exploring metrics. And besides that, I can go in to see like the description, and I can see what query is being run in the background. There's metric level cache on this, and I can do commentary if I'm the owner of this metric. And I know people will ask a question around this dip or peak. I can just do commentary and everyone will see it immediately. So that is kind of metrics explore, and then we have reports. So all these metrics, when I'm exploring them, I can choose to add them to reports. So this is kind of our take on dashboards. You can say reports. I'm going to go into a report, show you how it looks like. On top, we have global filters, and there's different type of blocks of content, text, charts, tables, big numbers, etc. So we see this more as a Notion page, like a Google Doc, living dynamic document. And it's super easy for anyone to, since all the metrics are centrally defined, anyone can go in and just start building on those governed, already defined metrics. And if I want to add something as a user, I can just click to add a chart, or it's a kind of drag and drop layout here of the content. So different. Yes, Oscar.
Sorry, Sebastian. And
Yes.
maybe this is very cool. You mentioned it subtly, but I would like to make it explicit.
Yes.
One of the reasons we built or we are building Stip is that we see the pattern where data teams are overloaded with requests and they invest a lot of their time building those dashboards that are going to be outdated in a few days or weeks, and they never get to do the analytics part of their job. So we flip this around by having the teams providing metrics. These metrics are standardized, they are reliable, they are safe to use. But then we give the power for the users, the business users, so to say, to build whatever they need to build and keep it up to date with their needs. And this is a very powerful thing because then we release a lot of pressure from the data teams, and then they can do their best in what they really are good at.
Yes, good point. And that's the kind of entire point of using Steep, the business value that you can get out of it. anywhere in the platform, when you are exploring a metric or you're in a report like this, you can go down into what I mentioned earlier in the slides, these entities that you also can define in your semantic layer. So if I click any point in this bar chart, for example, I can drill down into an entity that we've built in this demo workspace called merchants, to see kind of the row level views of that entity as well. Good. So that's reports, and now over to Steep AI as well. So just wanna before we kind of dig into this specific chat, Steep AI is querying the semantic layer, so it never goes directly to your data warehouse. So it goes to these governed metrics and the kind of defined semantic model. Always with all the context and all the joins and everything that the data and analytics team has built up. So when I ask a question like, I work in finance, what metrics do we have that's relevant for me? It does. You can also look at the reasoning that Steep AI is doing, and it's very specialized on analytics, so an analytics agent, so to speak. It can list all the relevant metrics for you, and I can ask it, like continue to ask it, can you create an analysis that I can use in my weekly financial report? And it pulls me some visuals here, as you can see, some line chart and bar charts of these relevant metrics that it's found. And all of these I can add directly to reports, and I can even ask it to build a report for me from scratch and just prompt it to build the entire dashboard or report that we call it. And here you have the kind of written analysis of for my weekly report. And then I can continue to kind of dig deep into analysis and explore together with Steep AI and build out reports and iterate on this. It's a very powerful way, very simple for anyone to use, since everything is well defined and with all the context that is needed, even down to the row level views of entities as well. So with that, I think, Oscar, we're going to go into kind of the under the hood of Steep. What is making this possible, the semantic layer, and how data and analytics teams can work building this foundation that end users are consuming. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that you maybe can take over and share your screen.
Yes, let's take a look at it. Let me start with this.
Yes.
So the semantic layer is a core concept that we have in Steep. Everything is built on top of that because the semantic layer is what allows you to trust whatever you are seeing. The semantic layer is going to be built by the data team and will provide you a lot of value. Some of them are everyone is going to use the same source to answer the same question. For instance, give me the revenue. Everyone is going to use the same revenue, so when they talk, they will have the same numbers. They will be sure that that definition, how do I calculate revenue, is up to date with the data infrastructure that we have. So we are going to be able to trust the data we are seeing. Once people start using Steep, they will connect their data source. It's already connected here, and they will quite easily start to define some metrics. So I can just pick some table, which is loading right now. It might take a while because I have a pretty big data source, or not. Let me take a look at this. Seb, I think my data source is kind of unavailable. Do you mind picking it up? I'll be right back.
Yes, no worries, no worries. So yeah, as Oscar mentioned, while you pick up another demo workspace, I think the thing that our clients are seeing with Steep and why companies choose to move over from legacy BI or other tools is mainly to enable everyone in the company and avoid this back and forth ad hoc between the data analytics team to the business side of their company.
Sure.
And yes,
Sorry, Sebastian. Yeah, now
yes,
it's up. It was just idling because I hadn't been
yeah,
using it for a while. Now
yeah.
it's up. It's online. Sorry, everyone. So we connected this data source. Then I can simply go in. I will see all my tables. I can create a metric. Let's take visitors, count of visitors. This is some demo data. It's not real data that we are seeing. It's a real data source, dummy data. So I can add some name. Let me number of visitors. And once I click save, it will be available for people to use. But as I keep growing, as my company grows, my team grows, it starts to get hard to keep track of all the changes of everything that's going on. Because I have metrics, I will have entities. We are going to take a look at all of this. It starts to get hard to keep everything under control. This is what we have Steepest Code for. We allow you to define your semantic model in code. I will show you how. And then you will sync with Steep. I will show you.
So is there any difference? What's the main difference between defining everything in the UI and defining working in code based for a data and analytics team, would you say, Oscar?
This is a great question. So the UI is easy. It's simply fluid. It works. The problem is when your team starts to grow, when your workspace starts to get more and more complex, you need peer review. You need some kind of accountability toward changes. You need to approve changes. The complexity simply grows, and you cannot afford having someone changing something without others noticing. Code gives you all of that and the fact that it ends up more robust. If there is any mistake, you can always revert. So defining things as code is seen as a more robust way of having complex definitions. So we are going to I'm going to show you now how this is going to look. I have a bunch of modules that we call, let's take the customers one. So I have a table called dim customers in my database. I can add a description. This description will be available for the user to read when using the UI, but it will also be available for the AI agent to use when deciding whatever it wants to decide. We will define dimensions, which are categories by which we can break down data. We can define metrics, and we will define, let me see if we have here. We can define entities, and we are going to define join paths. So we are going to be able to define all the characteristics of a module. And we are going to do that for all modules that are relevant to our metrics and entities. So I have a bunch of them here. I will show you in a second how I did that. You can be sure I didn't write it myself. I could have asked my agent to do it. I didn't do it, but it also agents have a very high success rate when doing this kind of things in our daily operations. But we have a bunch of YAML files. They all look the same or very similar because we we design things to be easy to understand, to use the same patterns, and so this gets out of your way as fast as possible. So it's going to be as easy as it gets. You are going to have a GitHub repo. You are going to push to main. So let me, and then once you go to steep, let me stop sharing, and then I will share again the steep. So once you go here in code, you will be able to connect to your GitHub repo. This is exactly what I have done. You can select a branch, and then you can store it to your workspace, and you start the sync. So when I click sync, Steep's going to read all those files from your GitHub repo. It's going to parse it, process it, and it will build the workspace for you. This is pretty good because then you can create the workflow that suits your needs. So you can add pull requests, you can add AI reviews, you can add whatever you want. And Steep will react automatically whenever you merge a pull request, for instance. So you will be sure that what you see in Steep is always up to date to your code base. So we have synced. You can see we created a bunch of modules, 11. We have created targets. Your semantic layer is here. So get this out of the way. If I were to delete something, I could easily recreate by rerunning the sync. So it's going to be very robust on your side. You are going to have all the so you're going to have the baseline of your semantic layer here. The drawback with code is that it takes more time. It's maybe less user friendly. And this is what the UI gives you, right? So the UI is pretty fast. You can experiment. So let's do it. Let's say I can see my modules. All of them are defined in code. This is how you see it here. But I have just created a new table. And this table is called marketing spend. You see that there is no module created for it. Let's try to use it. It's brand new. We are testing it. We don't know if the data is good enough. We don't know if the structure is good enough, but we want to test it out. So we are going to create a metric, which is a sum based on the fact marketing spend. We're going to sum the amounts. Nice. Let's add a breakdown by campaign name. Nice. So this is, I forgot the name. Marketing spend. This is where Steep also shines because we give you code, we give you workspace as code, but we don't take the app-defined workspace from you. They can very easily interact. You are going to see here that now, that now we have a bunch of code-defined modules, and these cannot be tweaked by in the UI, but you have this fact marketing spend that we just added by creating this metric. It's here. It's going to live. It's going to live here for as long as I want. It can interact with code modules. So let's say I'm going to connect marketing spend to customers by country. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but bear with me. This is just demo data. If we go back to our marketing spend now, I can even go as far as use breakdown on customer information because I have just connected a UI module with a code module. In Steep, it's completely irrelevant where it comes from. So we do see people having their baseline workspace in code, trying things out. When they are happy, they will go back to modules. They can click on marketing spend, and they have this very nice tab here, code. This is the code required for the module, for the dimension, for the join path, and for the metrics that we just created, that I just created here in these 45 seconds. You can copy it. You will not see it because I will not reshare, but I will add, I will, because it's so cool, I cannot not show you. So what I am doing now, I'm back in code. I'm going to add a new file, marketing module. It must be a YAML file. I'm going to paste it. I just copied it from the UI. I pasted it. This is the only file I have. I'm adding a new module and I'm pushing. Nice. This is all the work I had to do. I defined in the UI. I was happy. And now I copied it. I pushed to my repository. And let's see how it goes.
And the point here, Oscar, is it that it's, for data analytics teams that it's fast, flexible and fast to work with, or what would you say is the main kind of
Exactly,
benefit or
and
point?
easy, and very easy, because now everything I need to do is sync again. It will take, again, a little bit of time.
I have a quick question from the audience. It says, does the end user have access to the code / backend, or is access to this controlled?
I will get back in a second, but it's up to you to define. So just to wrap up where we were, we just added a new module. The module is the marketing one. The only difference here is now defined in code. You cannot tweak it by hand anymore. But our metric is still here. Everything is still working. But now people cannot break it accidentally by tweaking. Who can access the code? 100% up to the customer to define. Because we use a GitHub repository that is completely owned by the customer. Permission access, development workflow, up for the data team to decide. They can make it as public as they want. They can make it as restricted as they want. People who are, so the only way people would be able to access the code is clicking on this link, and this takes you to GitHub. So if you don't have access to GitHub, you don't have access to the code.
And from a Steep perspective, we have two different roles in Steep. You're either admin or you're a member. If you're an admin, you have access to the model that you see on the left nav, the model part. If you're a member, you don't. So you cannot redefine anything in the semantic layer if you're a member that you can when you're an admin.
Exactly. So either you are an admin and you can see it here, but that's required for you to do your work, right? It's what you see here is what you are going to see throughout Steep. It's basically the same thing as you're seeing here. Or you are a user and you don't see the model, and you will only see the code if you click here. You are redirected to GitHub and you have access in GitHub. So up to the customer to decide who gets to see what.
Perfect. Thank you
I
so much, Oscar.
and then I think I hand back to you.
Yes, perfect.
Oh,
I'll share my screen again, and then very briefly, just one final slide before potentially some questions that has come from the audience. I will show you guys this one. Oscar, can you give me a thumbs up if you see my
yeah,
screen?
I
Perfect.
do.
So just before we go over to the Q&A, a few of our clients, Voi, e-mobility company, Stillfront, it's a gaming group company that owns a lot of gaming studios, and the Veo tech company in Copenhagen. All of these companies were struggling a lot with engagement and a lot of scattered dashboards. The data team had to maintain hundreds of dashboards with built-in logic into each and every dashboard and handle a lot of ad hoc requests. So with Steep instead, they're focusing only on the semantic model and kind of giving power out to the whole organization to be able to explore metrics and do AI analysis, build their own reports. And with the mobile application and Steep's UI in the desktop app, they see phenomenal higher engagement in data in general in the company. And if we benchmark a little bit towards the legacy BI tools that are out there, usually you get somewhere between 10 and 20% monthly active users. So if you have 100 users in a legacy BI tool, you have around 10 or 20 that are active each month. And with Steep, it's up to 90% instead. So a lot of higher engagement in data in general, and a lot more efficient work around data and data culture. And with that, I want to ask if there's any questions in the chat.
Yes, perfect. We do have a few. First one, how do you prevent different teams from ending up with different definitions of the same metric?
Perfect. Yeah. So each metric is defined once in the semantic model. So no matter if you're exploring a metric or if you're asking AI directly in Steep AI, or if you have we have a MCP server, so a lot of our clients are connecting it to Claude or ChatGPT, etc. No matter where you're asking, querying the semantic model, you always get the same definition. And that goes for all the reports, or if you're asking, or if you're exploring a metric itself. So everything is centrally governed in Steep.
Perfect. Next question. When someone asks a question in natural language, is the AI constrained to the governed metric definition, or can it generate its own SQL that might return a number that contradicts the semantic layer?
No, it's only to the semantic layer. So natural language queries in Steep AI or in Claude, in ChatGPT, if you've connected the MCP server, it's always querying the semantic layer and the semantically defined metrics and dimensions in Steep. So you can
And
never get, yes, Oscar, please.
yeah, and I think reinforcing Steep AI does not have access to your data. It cannot query your database. It will request Steep to query your database for you. So it's not possible that even if it were to come up with a SQL, it has no way to fire that SQL against your data source. So it's really gated to what Steep executes, and Steep operates on top of the semantic layer only. No way to go crazy on SQL.
Perfect. Next question. Have you seen companies replace dashboards, or do they end up using both dashboards and conversational analytics?
I think dashboard has a place because you might look at the kind of the same set of numbers or reports over and over. So that is kind of reports that we showed you in Steep. That is what it's for. It's for collaborating and having kind of these saved artifacts that you look at daily or weekly or monthly. So they do have a very relevant place in most companies' workflows. But the difference is that these dashboards these reports that you see in Steep, they have no logic built into them in itself. The logic is in the semantic layer. So what you're doing in the reports in Steep is that you're kind of just taking these building blocks or Lego pieces that is already defined and placing them and twisting and turning them. So that is a big difference between Steep and other tools where logic might be baked into each and every report, which might end up being a lot of contradictory and conflicting metrics and numbers across different dashboards, different teams, etc. So with Steep, you have everything centrally defined, and everyone in the company is navigating the same map.
And in addition to that is you might have different views. Let's say a report shows revenue and a second one shows revenue in Sweden, but they reference the same metric. It's just another perspective on that metric, is a subset of that data in the second case. So it is still centralized control. If you change the central metric, it will impact both reports. So you don't risk having to change multiple reports to make the same change everywhere. You do it once, and Steep applies everywhere.
Perfect. Maybe one final question before we wrap up, just to be mindful of time.
Yes.
How long does it take to get Steep up and running for all end users in a company?
I think it's always, it depends on how you define like being done and having it out to everyone. I think it's always like getting to 80% is super quick. If you really want to, it can be done in a couple of days, I would say. And we always lean in a lot to help out with getting started. So we've seen customers do it in a couple of days, and then there's always a long tail of like getting more and more stuff into the semantic layer and providing more value to the end users, getting more metrics up and doing smarter joins and adding entities, etc. But getting started, you do it within a day, I would say, and getting people in there and providing some sort of value with metrics and dimensions, etc. And they can get started with AI analytics and building their own reports very, very quickly. So the first few steps is connecting it to the data warehouse and then start defining the metrics. And then you can essentially invite end users to start exploring and building upon those metrics. And then it's always a continuous work to, improve the quality of the semantic model and the richness of it, adding more context and smarter prompts and context to Steep AI.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and a huge thank you to Sebastian and Oscar for walking us through the demo. We hope you found it helpful and got a good feel for what Steep can do. If you'd like to continue the conversation or book a personalized demo, feel free to reach out to us at the address below. We are planning a follow-up session to dig deeper into Steep as code for those who are interested to learn more. We will be sending the recording out to everyone in the next few days. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you at another Steep event soon. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.